Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Emily and welcome back to my channel where I review, critique, and summarize scary children's books. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good February so far. Today in this video I am going to be doing a book talk on a book that I read for the Ladies of Horror Fiction Readathon that's taking place this month. The first challenge is to read a book by an indie author, and for that challenge I chose 56 Water Street by Melissa Strangway. So in this video, as always, I'm going to summarize the book for you and then do a little bit of a book talk and tell you guys what I think of it. And then finally, I'm going to finish everything off with my personal scores for this book. So definitely stick around until the end of the video if you want to see those. All right, so 56 Water Street is a lower middle grade novel following two 10-year-olds, Derek and Ravine, as they try to unravel the mystery of a mysterious house that has appeared in their neighborhood. Derek and Ravine are the only two people that they can find that can actually see 56 Water Street. It's invisible to everyone else. And whatever's inside the house is trying to get their attention. The lights are flickering on and off, they're having strange dreams, the trees in front of the house are swaying in a wind that doesn't really exist. And generally, Derek and Ravine just feel drawn towards this house. They just feel that this house has appeared to them for a reason. Once inside the house, Derek and Ravine discover that the ghost of a little girl that died there needs help in finding the ghost of her little sister. And she needs Derek and Ravine's help, or else she will never be able to pass on. So there were a lot of things that I liked about this book, and a few things that I didn't. I think this is a pretty well-written novel for middle grade readers. It's not overly atmospheric, but you still get a spooky sense of things. The sentences are clear and short and to the point. This book generally is a pretty fast read. You don't get the sense that the author has added anything into the story that doesn't need to be there, writing or plot-wise. But I do have to say that there are parts where the story seems to slow down. We get this odd sense of pacing where when something exciting happens, it happens in what seems like a split second, and then the pace of the story will just really slow down while the kids do research or talk to their families or interact with other kids. And normally this is totally fine and just how a story goes, but then when something exciting happens, there isn't really any build-up to it. It's almost like the pacing of this is halting, like there's a sort of a stop and start rhythm here that gets a little bit distracting as you're going through. So I'm not sure if the pacing really worked for me in that sense, and there were parts that it really took me out of the story. There's also a bit of stopping and starting in terms of the way that the author reveals information to the kids and to the reader. Often we'd have one scene where Derek learns a clue about 56 Water Street, and then later Ravine will learn the exact same information in an entirely different way. It really made it hard for me to remember what information each kid knew. It seemed to mess with the construction of the novel in a way that I found pretty distracting and did confuse me here and there. The story itself starts off as pretty spooky and pretty creepy, and then the creepiness factor takes sort of a back seat while the mystery of 56 Water Street comes forward. And I'm not complaining about this, to be clear. I think it actually works really well with the ghost story that Strangway has crafted here. I was invested in finding the answers at the end of the book. Something that actually took me by surprise is that the last third of this novel is really, really sad, which actually works really well with the ghost story that Strangway wants to tell here. But I do find that towards the end of the book, some of the descriptions of what was going on and some of the scenes, the information revealing scenes, actually ended up being a little too sentimental. And maybe this is a subjective thing, like maybe I just found it sentimental and other people wouldn't. But I do think that there is a kind of a thin line between sentimentality and writing a scene that just kind of comes off as saccharine. And I'm just not sure if there was enough good groundwork laid in the first 2/3 of this book for the sentimentality of the end to really pay off, for it to pack an emotional punch. I actually think that Strangway's greatest strength with this book lies in her characterization. I really grew to like Derek and Ravine, and I was continually impressed with the way that the author developed each character differently. Derek and Ravine have very different home lives, so you get a sense through their dialogue and through their actions that they feel very differently about their sort of situation in life. There are distinctions to each character, as well as a real strong sense of friendship between them. You really get a sense of how much they care for each other. And I do have to say that the characterization here was actually so strong that it made me want to pick up the sequel. I think I will pick up the sequel just to keep reading about Derek and Ravine and their adventures. So with all of that said, I am going to give 56 Water Street a 6 out of 10 for writing and language and a 5 out of 10 for story. I did enjoy the story, I had a lot of fun with this book, but there were those structural issues that did hold it back for me a little bit. Considering this is a lower middle grade novel, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for scares. I wouldn't call this an extremely spooky book. In fact, like I mentioned, a lot of the spookiness does kind of take a backseat when it comes to the rest of the book, and it becomes more of a sad, sweet ghost story. So although I think this is a horror story for kids, I wouldn't call it overly scary beyond the fact that it is about a ghost and it is a ghost story. And finally, I'm going to give 56 Water Street a 6 out of 10 for personal. I did have a lot of fun with this book. I did struggle with a few things, but I thought it was a really fun read. And honestly, I would give it to kids that enjoy things like Goosebumps or something like Spirit Hunters by Ellen O, which will be my next video coming up. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like and let me know in the comments below if you have heard of this book or if you've read this book. I actually saw online that there are a few people reading this book with their classes. I think that's really cool. This is a great classroom tool and a great kind of read aloud. So teachers, take note. If you want something spooky to read to your kids around Halloween, this is a good choice. And if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like. I am here doing scary kids book reviews and videos like this for the foreseeable future. And if you want to follow me on social media, all the links are always in the description below. Cool guys, well like I say, I hope the month is going well so far. Everybody's keeping busy, but still hopefully getting some time to relax. This time of year can be crazy, as evidenced by all the cars going by right now. I hope to see you guys in a week or so for the next book in the readathon, and until then, happy reading, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.